If there's one silent force that can turn you from broke to financially free, from stuck to unstoppable, it's compounding, the most underrated principle in wealth creation. Not a financial hack, not a get-rich-quick formula, but a way of living, thinking, and acting that multiplies value over time. The wealthy don't play a different game. They simply know how to make time work in their favor, in money, knowledge, relationships, and mindset. Now, let's peel back every layer of compounding's power and discover why this principle doesn't just make you rich, it makes you unbeatable. Compounding is not just a financial concept, it's a universal law of personal evolution. It applies to mindset, habits, knowledge, relationships, and even energy. Those who treat compounding as a strategic tool stop chasing instant success. They invest small, consistently, and correctly to create exponential change over time. Everything you do today is already compounding something. Whether you're aware of it or not, the seeds you plant now are shaping your future. The key question is, are you compounding the right things or digging yourself deeper into the wrong ones? The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle isn't income, intelligence, or background. It's what they compound daily. One person is stacking knowledge, assets, meaningful relationships, and upgraded thinking. Another is compounding procrastination, negativity, unconscious spending, and toxic connections. Compounding never stops, it's always working. What you control is not whether it happens, but what direction it's heading. If you're not intentional, you're vulnerable. And if you're not progressing, you might just be compounding regret. If you feel stuck, look at what you're repeating every day. Success doesn't come from giant leaps. It comes from tiny actions stacked consistently over time. Every choice is a slice into your future. Reading a book, doing focused work, building one solid connection, all are compounding forces. You can't speed up time, but you can choose what grows while time passes. Planting the right seeds today means harvesting abundance tomorrow. That's not theory, it's math. And it's unstoppable once momentum builds. Money isn't just a medium of exchange, it's a resource that can reproduce if treated wisely. Those who understand financial compounding don't spend to impress. They plant money into systems that yield long-term returns. Every dollar unspent becomes a tireless financial employee working overnight. They don't cash out early for upgrades or vacations. Instead, they let their money multiply and then reinvest the profits. Their wealth grows silently because they trust the process. Compound interest isn't an idea. It's a strategy for those who have mastered patience. The seductive power of instant gratification is what often kills the compounding cycle. Pulling money out too early for shiny distractions or jumping to the next opportunity is how people sabotage their own wealth. No investment pays off dramatically in days. The ones who let money work over years enjoy exponential returns. Meanwhile, those constantly changing plans end up starting from zero over and over again. Compounding rewards those who endure. It punishes those who panic. Every dollar is a seed. You can consume it now or plant it in fertile ground and nurture it into a forest. The wealthy aren't lucky. They simply refuse to kill the golden goose. They let their investments breathe, giving them time to bloom. True financial power isn't about how much you earn, but how long you allow your money to work for you. Let money compound quietly, and one day it will outwork you, outgrow you, and outlast you. Knowledge is the only asset that can't be stolen, and when applied, it compounds faster than money. Successful people don't hoard information, they use it. They learn, test, fail, adjust, and repeat. A new idea means nothing unless it's put into motion. Books, courses, and videos are just catalysts. The real value comes from applying insights to real-life situations. When knowledge becomes a habit, it turns into wisdom. And when wisdom stacks, results follow. Learning isn't passive. It's a high-leverage activity if treated like an investment. Most people fail not because they lack access to information, but because they treat learning like collecting souvenirs. Reading a book but not acting on it. Taking a course but doing nothing with it. Without practical application, knowledge fades. Growth happens when ideas connect with experience. High performers make each lesson fuel the next action. They don't just remember facts, they integrate them into systems. Every insight becomes a stepping stone to the next level. When learning compounds, clarity and decision-making sharpen. Unused knowledge is a liability. It takes up mental space and pretends to be progress. Successful people don't need to learn more than everyone else. They just need to go deeper than everyone else. Investing in learning the right way doesn't just help you understand problems. It trains you to solve them. Compounded knowledge isn't a collection. It's an engine. And when it runs long enough, it builds unstoppable momentum. Nothing appreciates faster than a mind that compounds what it learns. Relationships aren't a list of contacts. They're a network of value built over time through trust, respect, and giving, without expectation. Compounding in relationships happens when you invest in people long before you need anything. Real opportunities don't come from cold messages or handshakes at networking events. They grow from years of consistent contribution. The most powerful connections are not created in moments of need. They're built quietly in moments of generosity, empathy, and reliability. People remember those who showed up early. Struggling individuals often reach out only when they want something: funding, a job, a favor. But relationships built on desperation rarely last. High-value individuals become valuable long before they ask for anything. They share insights, connect others, and offer help without strings. They water the network, not for immediate gain, but to create a forest of opportunity that others can walk through freely. One authentic relationship can lead to dozens more if it's rooted in contribution, not calculation. Opportunities don't chase the loudest, they find the most trusted. When you build a strong foundation of connection, people will mention your name in rooms you've never entered. You won't have to chase success, it will arrive through recommendations and referrals. That's not luck. That's the reward for long-term relationship compounding. And as your network strengthens, the speed at which it delivers opportunity accelerates. It looks like magic to outsiders, but it's just the math of consistent value multiplied over time. Success isn't built in grand moments. It's constructed in the small, repeated choices you make every single day. Habits are the compounding mechanism of behavior. A positive action done consistently becomes identity, not just effort. High achievers don't rely on motivation, they rely on systems. What starts as discipline becomes rhythm. The longer a good habit is maintained, the easier it becomes to sustain. Progress is less about speed and more about direction. Small, steady actions stack up to build unstoppable momentum. Most people live at the mercy of their moods. They act when inspired, pause when bored, and restart when it's convenient. But success doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It rewards those who act regardless. Real progress belongs to those who build habits in imperfect moments, saving when broke, studying when tired, improving when nobody's watching. These small routines become compound accelerators. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need quiet persistence repeated daily. Change doesn't happen in a rush, it's planted in habit. Every habit you choose is building or breaking your future. The real question is not, what are you doing today? But, what have you repeated for the past 100 days? Wealth isn't about windfalls. It's about reading 10 pages more, saving 2% more, waking 30 minutes earlier, and doing it every day. The power isn't in the size of the step. It's in the consistency. Compounding habits build character, identity, and eventually wealth. If you want freedom, build rituals that make success inevitable. Mindset isn't just a perspective. It's the operating system that runs your actions, decisions, and emotions. If you don't upgrade it intentionally, it will compound by default, and often in the wrong direction. Successful people aren't born with a superior mindset. They train it daily, like an athlete trains their body. Every time they overcome fear, choose action over hesitation, or reframe a setback, they strengthen their internal foundation. Without a powerful mindset, no strategy or opportunity can be fully leveraged. People limit themselves not because they're incapable, but because they loop negative thoughts unchecked. I'm not good enough. That's not for me. Maybe later. These quiet beliefs compound into lifelong stagnation. The mind is a river. If you don't steer it, it drags you down. High performers don't negative thoughts set up camp. They interrupt them, challenge them, and redirect them. They treat mindset like a muscle. If left unattended, it weakens. If trained daily, it becomes their greatest asset. A strong mindset adapts, learns, and responds with intention. Winners aren't fearless, they're just better at turning fear into fuel. They don't fantasize about success, they act like they deserve it, and through action, they become it. Big thinking isn't delusion, it's discipline. Choosing empowering beliefs daily builds inner momentum. Sustained over time, this mindset compounds into clarity, confidence, and conviction. Success doesn't begin in your wallet, it begins in your head. What you believe about yourself becomes your strategy, and your strategy becomes your results. Energy isn't something you have, it's something you manage. Success doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to those with the energy to stay focused, execute, and adapt. High achievers don't work harder. They protect and direct their energy better. They understand that every conversation, decision, and environment either fuels or drains them. Busyness isn't effectiveness. Effectiveness is spending energy with precision on things that matter most and avoiding what steals your momentum. Successful individuals guard their energy like a billion-dollar asset. They say no to drama, step away from conflict, and avoid toxic environments. They choose uplifting conversations over complaints. They move their bodies, eat intentionally, and prioritize sleep. Not for trends, but because they know poor energy equals poor decisions. Every small choice during the day either sharpens or dulls their mental clarity. And clarity compounds into better judgment, faster execution, and long-term advantage. Think of energy as the fuel in your tank. You could drive a Ferrari, but if there's no gas, you're going nowhere. People who remain stuck often burn energy on meaningless arguments, endless scrolling, or trying to prove their worth. That's energy compounding in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, those who rise focus their energy on learning, building, and connecting. They don't wait for motivation, they generate it. The question isn't whether you have enough energy, it's whether you're using it for traction or distraction. And that choice changes everything. Every small action you repeat is either building you up or breaking you down. Nothing you do consistently is meaningless. The successful don't wait to feel inspired. They create systems that make the right actions automatic. Reading one more page, saving a little extra, working out 10 minutes longer. These actions aren't flashy, but they compound with force. The key isn't massive effort, it's consistency. And when small actions are repeated long enough, they stop being tasks and start becoming identity. The real power of action is found after the excitement fades. Those who succeed aren't the most hyped at the start. They're the ones who keep going when it's boring, hard, or unrewarding. Momentum is built in those quiet moments of discipline. You don't need a breakthrough, you need repetition. Because repetition creates rhythm, and rhythm sustains momentum. Action isn't about size, it's about sequence. Stack one good choice after another, and you create a pattern that makes winning feel natural. Most people wait for motivation before acting, but those who master compounding action know that motivation comes after movement, not before. They don't wait for clarity, they act, and clarity follows. They don't chase perfect timing, they create progress now. With every consistent step, they reinforce belief, increase capability, and lower resistance. Over time, these actions create a self-reinforcing loop of confidence and success. You don't need a leap, you need steps, one after the other, without quitting. That's how compounding action builds an unstoppable life. Compounding doesn't care if you're aware of it, it's always working. And if you're not compounding growth, you're likely compounding decline. Every time you procrastinate on what matters, spend without thinking, or ignore your goals, you're layering failure one thin slice at a time. It doesn't look dramatic at first. That's the danger. Negative compounding is silent, but just like interest on a loan, it accumulates faster than you realize, and soon the weight becomes overwhelming. Most people don't crash from one big mistake. They drown in thousands of micro decisions. One skipped workout, one excuse, one I'll do it tomorrow. Each on its own seems harmless, but stacked together, they shape a life of regret. Compounding failure doesn't shout. It whispers, over and over, until you wake up 5 years behind, wondering what happened. The enemy isn't bad luck, it's repeated neglect. You didn't lose time, you spent it on the wrong things. Ask yourself, what have you been compounding in the last 90 days? Time spent binge-watching? Energy wasted in arguments? Money spent to impress instead of invest? Those aren't isolated choices, they're patterns, and patterns are powerful. The question is no longer, is compounding happening? It's, is it working for or against me? Every moment you ignore growth, you're compounding the alternative. Success and failure are both built the same way, one decision at a time. The outcome is determined by which direction you're facing. Success isn't magic or luck. It's the inevitable result of small, intentional choices, repeated over time, in the right direction. Compounding isn't a financial tactic, it's a philosophy of living. You can't buy success, but you can build it, brick by brick, day by day. You don't need to be extraordinary, you just need to be consistent. When you align your daily actions with long-term goals, compounding turns invisible effort into unstoppable momentum. Progress stops being random, it becomes predictable. So, what are you compounding every day? That's the question that changes everything. Are you stacking assets or stacking excuses? Are your habits building strength or sapping energy? Is your learning sharpening your edge or cluttering your mind with theory you'll never use? Life is a current, you're either drifting or steering. Compounding is the oar. Done right, it quietly multiplies every effort. Done wrong or ignored, it quietly multiplies every mistake. The results always show up later, but they always show up. No one builds a great life overnight, but everyone can start today. Every time you read a little more, save a little extra, think a little deeper, or act a little faster, you're laying the foundation for a future far bigger than your present. Compounding doesn't care about talent. It honors discipline. It doesn't demand perfection. It rewards commitment. The game isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, again and again. You don't need a new life. You need better repetitions. Compounding isn't theory. It's the backbone of sustainable success and true wealth. Everything you repeat daily is either lifting you higher or pulling you down. Greatness doesn't demand brilliance at birth. It requires consistency and direction. What are you stacking? Growth or regret? Every dollar saved, every skill improved, every habit reinforced is shaping your future, one layer at a time. The wealthy don't play harder, they play smarter. They let time and discipline do the heavy lifting. Stop chasing quick wins. Start compounding what truly matters. And if you do it long enough, success won't be a question. It'll be the result.